Why your sweaters are garbage. Sweaters used to be made entirely from natural fibers. They came from shearing animals like sheep and goats. Sometimes plant-derived fibers like cotton were blended in. Now, the majority of yarn is blended with plastic. Most often, it's polyester, polyamide, or acrylic. Knits made with synthetic fiber are cheaper to produce. They can be spun up in large quantities. They usually can be washed with everything else, but synthetic fibers pill quickly. They look fake and shed microplastics. They don't perform as well as wool when worn. Wool fibers are hygroscopic and hydrophobic. They draw moisture to their center, leaving the surface dry. A wool sweater can absorb a lot of water from the air. It won't immediately feel wet or cold to the touch. Cheaper materials have flooded the fashion industry. The reason for this is fast fashion. Low-end brands produce cheap disposable clothing. Premium brands try to keep up with their pace. They maximize profits by cutting costs. A pound of sheep's wool might cost from $1.50 to $2. A pound of cashmere might cost from $10 to $15. A pound of acrylic can be found for less than $1. Few checks exist to ensure the quality of knitwear. Plastic fibers are now common even in designer sweaters. For example, a Gucci wool cardigan is half polyamide. The decline in quality accelerated considerably in 2005. That year was the end of the multi-fiber arrangement. It was a trade agreement for the United States, Canada, and Europe. It capped imports of yarn from developing countries. Western retailers no longer have restrictions. Many of them started buying the cheapest inventory. They found it largely in Asia and Latin America. There are few regulations on the textile industry. This allowed retailers to slash wages and use synthetics. Knitting is highly skilled labor, even at its cheapest. Manufacturers decided to forego those costs. The designs of knitwear became simpler. The demand for skilled labor dropped. The skills aren't passed to new workers. They eventually wash out of the labor force. The same happens in the production of the raw materials. The majority of clothing sold in the US includes plastic. Brands market synthetic fabrics as a consumer advantage. For example, they label sweaters as machine washable. Hand washing and line drying are no longer required. Those kinds of care tasks have become a nuisance. People avoid garments that require them. Wool is most comfortable and effective when layered. Most Americans prefer more casual clothes. A button-down with a sweater now can feel too formal. Indoor climate control has improved. People spend less time at a constant 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The climate overall has gotten warmer over the years. The need for warm wool sweaters has decreased.